Lights, camera, action. Three words we have all heard, but seldom realize that there is a person in our lives that live it every day. Whether they are biological or someone who has stepped into the position, this person's love for you keeps her going. She is someone who can make the worst day turn into the best story, or make a complete mess into a life lesson. She is a mother. Mothers are the people behind the scene who make sure things get run smoothly, but rarely get the credit. As I was growing up, I was never aware of the work my mother put into everything until the day I became a mother. While doing it all for love, a mother will work behind the curtain by taking care of those she loves, keeping up a household, and giving her words of wisdom. A mother is given superpowers on the first day she becomes a mom. She can take care of everyone, her kids, her family, and even strangers. She becomes the hero that does all the work without expecting anything in return. When it comes to her children, a mom can move mountains. A kiss can make the worst boo-boo magically better, or the worst illness suddenly becomes a little bit more comfortable. Growing up, I can only vaguely remember my mom being sick, maybe one time. I just thought that moms were incapable of being sick. However, I do remember the times my brother and I were sick. In the middle of the night, the sound of her fumbling around in the dark and yelling that it would be okay as she was falling up the stairs in a speed race to get to us. What I didn't remember was that she was sick too. One of the reasons she was fumbling was because she hadn't been to sleep because she had been up sick. Although she made sure her kids were taken care of to the point that we didn't even realize that she was ill. Mothers take care of the rest of the family. When they're sick, just added a new member to their household, or just to help someone out when around the house. I've always said my mother had a special strength. Almost 2 years ago, I witnessed it even more when I watched my mother take care of my grandmother who was diagnosed with cancer, while continuing to take care of her children, her community, and working in the school system. All the while, she even took care of strangers. Not taking care in the sense of dropping a couple quarters into a change bucket, but I mean genuinely taking care of them. When I was growing up, I never knew who I was coming home to. My mom would bring kids and teenagers to our home that either didn't have a home or a stable home. She would run them to their extracurricular activities and rarely missed one of their games. She still runs a clothing closet for the kid at her school and the food pantry for the community. I spoke earlier on my mother's strength. She sees things and opens her heart that are enough to crumble the hardest person, but she continues to do it for the greater good. In a movie or in a play, the stage crew resets the set for each act. Most of the time it takes a crew, but in this case, it takes one woman to make the whole thing just come together. She keeps up the household by cleaning, paying bills, and running errands. To some, that doesn't seem like much. But have you ever cleaned a house when a toddler's present? That in itself's a full-time job. A tiny human coming up behind you and wrecking everything you just spent 15 minutes cleaning is enough to drive anyone to the point of insanity. But mothers do it every day. The same goes for bills. That is something I was lucky enough not to have to worry about growing up. I had both parents in the home, but it was my mom who made sure everything was paid up. On top of that, mothers usually do the grocery shopping and run all the errands, working and staying home moms. After working or being with a screaming kid all day, the agony of going into Walmart is just dreadful. But all moms do it every day. Because the love they have for their family and not wanting them to go without is what keeps them going. Lastly, she is the director. She watches everything and when needed gives her famous words of wisdom. She has lived it. She has made her fair share of mistakes and is willing to let you bypass it and learn from the lessons that she has already had to live through. Her lessons go from life to work to love. As for young people, advice may not always be welcome, but little do they know that it is needed. When it came to words of wisdom about my mom, she always knew what to say. Well, my mother is a devout Christian, and there is no doubt in my mind that she has this special connection with God. So naturally, her advice came from Scripture. Others come from her life lessons. As a mother, she knew what the path of life would bring and the obstacles her children would have to face. So she prepared us the best way she knew how and continues to guide us from day to day. When it comes to work, my mother's had her fair share of bosses and co-workers. Some were good, some were bad, and some become her lifelong friends. She's taught me to act with kindness and grace, even when I want to scream. As for love, she knew the most. As a mother, we know the most love. And a love that can defy forces and is unending. My mother shows that to me as I want to show my son. In the end, she makes sure every prop is set, every costume is hemmed, and every light is set bright and shining, allowing the world to see what she has worked so hard for. She takes care of everyone she cares about, the household, even when the kids make it seem almost impossible. And she gives advice only years of wisdom would allow. She is my mom.